It looks like it's going to be just the two of us, and so largely what we have to do is to just make recommendations, and we're going to have to like table that to the the larger group when we meet next.
Really quick, if we have two, is that a quorum or no?
Yes,
Also,
we're good.
we can approve.
It is a current, yeah. Okay. We're gonna call this meeting approval of the agenda. We have a motion.
Motion.
So moved, and I support that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda 3 and 4. We have a motion to
Motion.
So moved. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We have 3 contracts tonight. The first one is teaching strategies contract. Do you have someone to present that to us? Go ahead.
So Teaching Strategies is a vendor that we utilize for our existing pre-kindergarten curriculum.
Mm.
So we currently utilize what's called creative curriculum in all of our pre-K classrooms. And so what we'd like to do is contract with the vendor to provide professional development to support the creative curriculum. The funding source for this will come out of a literacy grant that we have with RIDE. So there are no district funds needed to support the contract. It's all grant money.
And this is an amendment. Why is it an
Yes.
amendment?
It's an amendment because we have an existing contract with Teaching Strategies to purchase all the materials, which is what we did in the grant this year.
Mm.
So we purchased all of the libraries, the teacher editions, so we purchased all the materials. And so now the second phase is to get the professional development for the teachers on how to utilize those materials. So therefore, it's an amendment to our existing contract with the exact same vendor.
So, and this is only for pre-K or through
Correct,
you have
yes.
any program for elementary now?
No, it's strictly for our pre-kindergarten classrooms.
Course. All right. That's all my question. I was just looking at it and I see there's an amendment, so I was just kind of curious. And I can see the details that's there, which is what I like to have to at least. So, in the absence of any other question, do you have a motion?
Motion.
So moved, and I'm supporting that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any oppositions and abstentions? The ayes got it. Thank you so much. City year.
I'll be presenting for City Year.
Go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Listen, I'm not approving that though.
Okay. So City Year is a longtime partner. They provide tier 1 and tier 2 support for our 6 schools. And the 6 schools are Bailey Elementary, Laurel, Pleasant View, Youngwoods, Belsesto, and Roger Williams. And what they do is send in AmeriCorps members into these schools to provide academic support and intervention, teacher support, social emotional skill development, attendance coaching and improvement, and family engagement. They have been a longtime partner. This contract is a performance-based contract, so which means that 60% of the contract is guaranteed, and then 40% is based on the metrics that we have outlined with City Year, and in those areas. So looking at attendance support, academic support, both the ELA and math, and then social emotional learning.
Have any question?
So it's just strictly, this contract is strictly based upon professional development, you said? For them?
It's not professional development, it's actually academic interventions during the school day for the 6 schools that they're in.
And for this contract, for all of the AmeriCorps that we have, does this contract include sort of stipending them and their work, or this isn't the overall contract, or this is?
So this is a shared cost contract, which means City Year so what we're getting is at a discounted rate, for lack of a better term.
Okay. And really quick, how much do we, and I don't know if you have these, like that information, how much do we sort of pay the AmeriCorps that are in the classroom with our students?
It's about $13,500 for this contract.
13,500.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
13,500 per
Bi-weekly?
core merit. No, for the entire
For the
year.
entire year.
Oh, for the year
That's
for
our
AmeriCorps.
contribution.
Okay, got it. The reason why I was asking is because I know like they're not sort of like the teachers anything in the room, but I do want to make sure that we sort of upper that even more. I don't know if you have anything to do with that, but I'm saying like moving forward, advocating that like the AmeriCorps are getting paid a little bit more money than what they're currently getting paid, because I know a lot of them work at full time and that's not enough money, sort of like a livable wage, I may say. So hopefully we can sort of up that pay. I don't know which conversations to have with who. on
Yeah,
that.
and so I think that part of it is like the national AmeriCorps and what they pay
Okay.
each entity. So City Year is in partnership with the United States AmeriCorps program,
Mhm.
and I don't know
And
what
they
the
kinda
ins
do
and
that.
outs
Got
of
it.
that.
Got
Has
it.
some restrictions on it. It's technically considered a stipend too, like you would give to like a grad student. So
Yeah.
it might be
Okay.
some different restrictions.
Got it.
I do know they are like looking nationally at their funding models.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. I
Some
appreciate
movement on
that.
their end.
Just want to make sure we take care of them. They do a lot of good work. So, any questions?
This is a renewal. So what is the length of the term of the contract originally? Is it 2 years or 3 years, or we renew every year?
So we renew every year.
Okay.
Every year based on the performance that they have done for the prior year. We sit down with the city year staff to develop what the next year's metrics are going to be based on what they're seeing at the school level and also what the school leader is asking for.
So because it's performance based, I don't see any. Is it possible to share
Yeah, we
with,
can share.
us what the performance has been over the years?
Yeah, so I have a preliminary one for this particular upcoming, and you'll see the numbers of students that they're going to be supporting at each school. So City Year has a document that is shared with the school principal. So of that number that you see right there, like the 200, is a collective of all of the 6 schools. And so they separate that by school, depending again on the need of ELA or math or social emotional need. And those metrics are similar from last year, and they met them. They met all of those metrics.
So another question I have with this, the highlighted thing is that does that cover everyone, or just like 250 out of 700 or out of 900? Is it everybody is included or just like selected?
So they
And if it is selective, let me just
Yeah, so
Actually-
the school administrators identifies the students with the most need
Mhm.
in a particular classroom,
okay.
because this is a collaboration between the core member and the teacher. So a teacher will say, yes, I want a City Year core member in my classroom to
Classroom, okay.
support me.
Mhm.
And that selection is based on a conversation with the administrator to identify which classrooms need the most support and which students need the most support, and that's where the core member goes to support those students.
Yeah, and I get that. I just want to make sure that we have all that in need are supported. But when we put a cap on it, it means if we get beyond that threshold, for instance, it's 200 now. So let's assume that's the budget of set of standard that is set. Now let us look at the actual being 400. So what's the provision to cater for those that we did not anticipate, but eventually becomes necessary? How do we take care of that?
I don't know how to answer that question
Okay.
other than to say that it's about capacity as well for City Year to, one, have people who want to become AmeriCorps members, and then based on their capacity to serve students and still be within the model of how many hours they can provide to a student. So City Year is one of many partners who are supporting us, but they're the only partner that is in this, one of the only organizations that is in the school day supporting our students. So ideally, we would have a City Year core member for every student, but that is not
I
in
understand.
the capacity for the organization and also for us from a budgetary perspective plays into it.
And I see 4 elementary and 2 middle school. The others are not in need, or they didn't request for it, or
So we went through a process of selecting the schools based on the data and based on the relationship that we've had. In the past, City Year was at elementary, middle, and high, but they are shifting some of their focus to really support the younger students, especially in third grade. So that, and those 2 high schools have been a long partner with City Year, but again, it's about capacity and making sure that they are true to the model. And at right now, they can only serve 6 schools. And we're working with them to also recruit some of our seniors who don't yet have a plan
exam.
to become core
Exactly.
members in the following school year. So that's something that we're putting into action right now, because we do understand that there is a need, but also we want to be mindful of an organization that wants to be true to the model that they have.
All right. I'm sorry for asking too
Oh,
many
no,
questions.
no, please.
This metric is futuristics.
It's for this year.
For this year.
Mhm.
Is it possible to share something that happened in the past and
Yes.
see how it all went?
Yeah.
Because I'm really concerned about this threshold of I want all students who need to be served, not just having something. So if we can have something that, this is what happened last year, it will give us an insight into how it operates.
Yeah.
And how we can be better prepared for the future. And if we can include all other schools that might be in need. Thank you.
I don't know if you have the answer to this, but do we have sort of a lot of young adults or anyone that it could be that don't really want to work for City Year? Are they having a tough time staffing? Okay.
Can
Not my-
I keep this?
They're having a tough time recruiting core members. And so one of the things that we, as part of the partnership, is to have them go into senior assemblies and classrooms to see if there are students who are interested. And we've had some successful seniors in the past who joined, and now they're in college, but they've had that experience of being in the classroom with students.
Absolutely. Christopher Ma, the old superintendent's son, is currently working for City Year. But my argument would be trying to get City Year in multiple different schools, but I do understand the point of people not wanting to apply.
We don't want to dilute the program. We want to make sure that it's fidelity to what they do. And so just keeping that in mind as we think about growth, right? If they're having a hard time finding core members, they can't deliver the program that they were intended to.
Correct. Sounds good.
Do we have a motion to run on this?
Motion.
So support and all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions, any oppositions? Ayes carried. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
DMG, is that it?
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. Scott Sutherland here. I'll be working through that.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
So, with our acceleration schools, we're on Department of Education set aside $2 million in ESSER set-aside funds that's matched by the district. Currently, we have 6 schools that are going to be part of an acceleration school based on where they are academically on achievement standard. And the goal of this acceleration group is to close the achievement gap with the loss that we had for COVID. So Brad had a metrics that targeted 6 of our schools that are listed in this contract here. And they have a list of vendors, approved vendors that are on the master price list for Department of Education. We had 3 bids on this particular group to accelerate. We chose DM Group, the lowest bidder, as well as we currently work to help with the facilities plan for our district. And they're kind of like the gold standard and green label with RIDE. But they would work with James Boyd and Patricia Royale to help prepare for the community members' presentations and work with each. So basically, they're going to go into each school and do three different cycles of school improvement goals that they feel would accelerate the growth of the students. Whether or not it's through tutoring, they're going to align it with the comprehensive school improvement plans that they already have, and they'll create 3 cycles. Those cycles would be shared with all of the members in the school, all the community members, and the presentations would be done. So it'll kind of eliminate the work for the principals at the school and the teachers at the school to own the burden of creating the plans, creating the parent community engagement assessments, working with the community partners to see what we can do collaboratively to increase. We're looking for a 15% growth in these schools to catch back where they were before we went out on COVID. So,
Do we have for this vendor, do we have sort of like any background or history on sort of them being successful?
that was part of the RFP as well. So part of the scoring rubric. So they're highly successful across the country. Molly wants to do a little bit to that. Or?
Sure, so we have 2 other current scopes of work that we're working with district management group on, and our teams I think here have been really satisfied with the quality of work and support we've gotten from DMG. So they're already a current and trusted partner in addition to being a past partner for us. And like Scott mentioned, they're also on this kind of pre-approved, pre-vetted list that RIDE put together of partners that RIDE is really encouraging districts to pick from. There are 10 different vendors on that list, and DMG is one of them.
Do we have any like hard copies of approval, or not approval, but hard copies of any evidence that this school, not this school, but this contract, district management group has been successful?
Yeah, there's some longitudinal studies, but there also, this is part of their application as well.
Okay.
There's some of the key team members that currently work with us, as well as some of the, some of their work and timeline across the United States. But, and again, they're one of the approved vendors for RIDE. Keeping in mind, this work has to conclude before the end of the year.
Oh,
So this grant will be encumbered by the end of the year. And we have to
end of
spend
this year.
a total of $4 million. So they'll come in, they'll do a needs assessment of the schools. And from there, they break up the key assessment of each of the schools with the principals and the comprehensive school improvement team. They'll select a strategy to move forward on the school, whether or not it's in-depth tutoring, and they'll help them find vendors to do the in-depth tutoring for mathematics, for example. And then they will facilitate that work for the principal, the teachers, et cetera, in each of the campuses.
End of this year or end of this fiscal year.
Right. So if we don't encumber this money by the end of the year, it'll go away. It's specifically targeted for those 6 schools.
What are the systems? Because I don't see them listed here.
That's on the front page of the application. So we have Bailey, Kennedy, King, VZ, Green, and DQ. So James Boyd and Patricia Royale have presented to the Commissioner's Cabinet acceleration strategies. They feel that this group will be able to take them to the next level. They're going to work the next step if approved. They're ready to. We talked about what math programs we can implement in the schools immediate, and this organization will help James and Patricia carry their vision through each of those 6 schools.
Have they worked in urban school districts before?
Yes.
This, because like some of this information that's on here is helpful, like ahead of our meetings, so we don't have to sort of like take time going through it and looking through it. So.
And you think they'll be able to do this in 13 days? Because based on this one, unless they've already started.
The timeline, so they'll have to immediately amend the timeline with Patricia and James specifically for their schools.
And you said Patricia Royale and James Boyd is Please forgive me. I'm tired.
Specifically, last week we reviewed the bid from James and Patricia.
Got it. Why are they not here presenting this as well? If this is something that they
I tried to lend a helping hand and bridge it for them because there's so much work to be done at their elementary, middle, and high, so it did have to go out for the acceleration schools. So this was kind of drafted, earlier in the year.
Okay. I would love for them to come and present these kind of things and let me know themselves how they believe this would be impactful.
So we have the next school board meeting on the 21st, right?
No, 14.
14? Okay. Because I'm looking at this, the timeline.
Yeah.
I'm really, really concerned about it. So, and, okay.
When did y'all come to the conclusion that this would be the best? A couple days ago?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
So,
Wednesday? Sorry, that's Wednesday.
that's Wednesday. Okay. Another question?
No.
Do we recommend this?
Yes, I recommend it. We'll talk more about it at the school board meeting.
Okay.
Motion,
we have a motion,
yeah.
so moved, and I support that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any oppositions? The ayes carry.
Can we get a copy
I'll
of
get you
this?
a full copy.
I appreciate it.
All right, and motion to adjourn.
Motion.
So moved and seconded. All
Thank
in
you,
favor?
everyone, for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This one. I think it's this one.
Al, can you shut that off?
I can do that.
Good, how are you?
Are we still live?
I can surely
It's
do
the
that.
live
Directly or to Alan? The background information.
You can send it to our.
You can send it to Al.
It will send it to us.
What's that?
Yeah.
Go
I appreciate it, Scott. Appreciate it.
Well,